Mike Reiss is here. Mike, great to have you.
Beatles, Tim, great to be with you.
I want you to know that this is the
My man.
Super Service Today guest chair you're sitting in. Super Service Today, Massachusetts' #1 provider for plumbing, heating, cooling, and drain cleaning day or night, and always done right. Visit superservicetoday.com. Day 2 camp observations or day 1 and 2 camp observations. What's standing out to you, Mike?
So what stood out to me today was a take the profit day. Just a lot of short passes. And I think if I had to sum it up, not the most exciting day for those that were here, but when you look at Drake May and if you're keeping the count of the completions, 14 of 15, a lot of passes close to the line of scrimmage. And I was going back to last year for him. He had the 10 interceptions in I call it, he played 10 games wire to wire, and you want to see that number come down ideally this year, and I felt like today that was the theme. Like, just take what's there and make positive yardage on first down to set yourself up.
Yeah, drive starters. Good drive starters.
I felt like that was today's, though. I don't know. What did you guys see from up here?
I think it may have been some inside check run / short game stuff. Looked like a lot of screens to me, too. Flat routes, that type of stuff, yeah.
I said to Morgan Moses, I said, this is one of those days where it's less about execution and more about install. That's what it felt like.
And what did he say? I like him.
He kind of agreed with that. You know, he said this time of year, it is what it is. You've got to understand that you've got to play a role as whatever you are on the field. And he was speaking as an offensive lineman. Like, you've got to do what's best for the team on a day like this. I was asking about sacks, you know, because there have been a number of sacks here in the first couple of days, probably more so yesterday. But should we read into that? I'm not sure we should.
So I think actually two things are true on this, Beetle.
Yeah.
So I think it's fair to be concerned about the offensive line, but I think I wouldn't be concerned based on what we've seen in non-padded practices.
I would agree.
And I think so. I actually, you know, I don't want to get boxed in here and tell everyone, hey, you know, don't worry about the offensive line. Like I have concerns, like like everyone else, but Morgan Moses actually said this to us. I don't know if he said it to you. He goes, come on, we need something to grab.
Yeah.
There's no pads. And these defensive linemen, I mean, Harold Landry, he can just run right up the field. So
they run right through him. Yeah.
We can put, you know, sack for Landry, but, you know, when the pads come on, if you're calling the game, probably just pop them with a draw play or a screen, you know, and you might have a big play. So it's easy to, I think,
they're just not really hitting.
And I think that's it. So maybe
how do you? I don't know.
So it's the new league, man. That's what it is.
I think he said at one point, he goes, "Hey, if you can block him, great." But he's kind of like, "Yeah, whatever. It's not a big deal."
But I will say on the line, you know, same conversation we've had the last couple of years. So they're going left to right. Will Campbell, and it seems to me it's, you know, Will Campbell or bust, right?
Yep.
He's going to be the left tackle.
Good.
They don't have much behind him, which would be a concern. Left guard, it's been Cole Strange for the most part the whole time. They did rotate in Jared Wilson, their third-round pick, at both center and left guard a little bit with the first unit. Garrett Bradbury at center. Watch for him, right? A little undersized guy that the Vikings moved away from because he was overpowered at times.
Mm-hmm.
Micah Wenu at right guard and Morgan Moses at right tackle. And yeah, we've seen a little leakage out there, but again, how much do you want to read into that?
I think the good part is, too, Josh is telling the quarterbacks, play through it. Just because they come by you and touch it,
right?
Just keep the play
it
alive.
going.
Just keep the play alive. We got to process things.
It's got to be better than last year, though, Mike.
It will be.
Yeah.
But
that doesn't mean it's going to be good,
right,
but it absolutely will be better.
I think the coaching will give them a chance, right? So even I go back to when Josh McDaniels was here, some of their offensive lines, they didn't have like as many household names, but they did things to protect those guys. Remember last year we were talking about the tackles being on an island at times. I just don't think you'll leave Will Campbell on an island against Max Crosby in week one.
Right.
You're just they won't allow it.
Yeah.
Coaching,
especially early.
Yeah.
You know, you get behind in a game like that, then your confidence really goes.
Mike, we've talked about the receivers for years now. We've talked about offensive line for years. The Terry McLaurin holdout continues in Washington. I saw your I guess you would say fellow beat reporter, Karen Garigian. She thinks that there's a chance this team is going to try and make a big move for a player at some point. The same way at this time last year we started hearing about Brandon Ayuk. Do you think that's a possibility for them? Do you think Terry McLaurin could possibly end up somewhere else other than Washington?
Well, I wouldn't doubt Karen, right? She gets the first question with Mike Vrabel every time, and she nails it every time.
Isn't that sexist?
I would just say I'm just glad I don't have the first question. There's a lot of pressure. Now we're getting pop quizzes from Vrabel and I'm coming up with
the other day was great.
Yeah.
Just don't be
mad at myself.
You better be prepared.
You better not be comatose over there.
You know? We got to be sharper. Let's go.
Don't ask the same question twice.
Well, that I don't, but we got to be better.
Bill hated that too.
First couple days of camp are for all of us, reporters too. But Beto, why? I don't think you can rule anything out on that stuff. And if McLaurin was ever an option in a realistic way, that absolutely you look at it. I haven't heard anything that would make me think that could happen right now. But let's not rule it out.
What do you make of the wide receiver competition as is with the guys that are actually on the roster right now?
So I was really impressed with Kyle Williams yesterday, the third-round pick out of Washington State. He had a bad drop today, so I didn't think he sort of built on what we saw the first day. But I know they like him.
That's it. They missed again.
Yeah,
but I know they like him a lot. I know they like him a lot. And I know some of the guys in there say of all the rookies that have been in the last few years that he's the one that gives them the most hope, of the rookie receivers. To me, I think the receiver depth chart goes like this. Diggs is always first in the line in the drills. He'll be out there. Kayshon Boutte has been out there with him. And Pop Douglas right now. Those would be the top three guys. I think Mac Hollins, when he comes back, will be in there as a fourth guy. Kendrick Bourne, he's in there. Kyle Williams is in there. And I'm missing one more. Who's my other guy? I'm not putting Polk in there. I'm not putting Baker in there.
Don't put them in there.
Chisholm?
He's on. I want him to be there. Boutte, I said Boutte was in there. And I think Chisholm's probably your seventh guy. I don't know if you'd keep 7. Like, he looked good in the spring. He has not shown up much, Tim, to be honest, the first 2 days. So that's one where, like, I feel like we've hyped him from a media standpoint, and I almost worry, like, if he doesn't make the team, the people look at the media and say, what were you talking about all spring? And so I think that one's on the edge right now.
Mike Reiss is with us. Mike, this is the hardest question I will throw at you. Do you have a name on this roster that could potentially be a surprise cut by the time we get to the end of this preseason?
So, would Anthony Jennings qualify in that regard?
Yeah,
it has to.
I would put. Yeah, that would be a surprise cut for me.
So, and the reason why, and I think he's a very good player, and he will play in the league this year.
Real quick, is he the one that got the bump and then asked for another one? These other guys were getting more.
No.
Was it him? Okay,
that was
Wasn't it Uche last year?
Yes. Uche. That's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Anthony Jennings is a really good player. He's an edge setter in the old 3-4 Belichick.
Bob and I thought
defense.
he came on at the end of the year.
Yeah, but now you look at what they have on the edge, and it's Landry, it's Keon White, it's Chason, and then you got a rookie like Braden Swinson, their 5th-round pick out of LSU, and then even an undrafted guy, Ponder. So, he's Anthony Jennings. You don't really see him right now in the first 2 practices out there. So that would be one name that, off the top of my head, came to me.
Gotcha.
Anything we missed? Anything you want to hit on before we say goodbye?
Well, you're not kicker guys, right?
No.
So, okay, we'll pass on the kicking.
I want them out of the sport.
Punch him in the face.
Sometimes I wonder, I always try to look at it critically, what could derail the Patriots, right? So we talk about the offensive line. I sometimes wonder about what's behind Drake, and if they're sort of living their life without football insurance, right? So Drake was in the concussion tent a couple times last year, and you're hopeful that doesn't happen this year. But based on what we saw last year, I'll ask you guys, what's the likelihood he plays all 17 games, and how do you feel about what's behind him? That would be something where I thought Dobbs threw a bad interception yesterday, maybe a little bit better today.
I think you're absolutely right. I think that if he plays the way he was playing a year ago, he will not make 17 starts. I hope that with Vrabel and McDaniels, that changes.
Yeah.
I hope he is playing in a different way.
Ingrained throwing in him. Just if we don't want to run, we want to throw.
And we saw in the Forged in Foxborough that was an emphasis.
Yes.
That was being put on him by Mike Vrabel. He was emphasizing that point with him. I hope that's the way that it goes. Yeah. But you're right. I don't think the Pastronaut is it.
Yeah, and I think when I bring this up, that's good. That's good, Vito. When I bring it up to others, they say there's still a chance you could, like let's say Cleveland, just to use an example. They got 4 quarterbacks. If Kenny Pickett comes available, do you feel better about someone like that? And I'm not saying that.
Honestly, I might, which is scary, but I might.
Just based on the potential and the coaching, right?
Yes.
So I think you asked me like what else.
I never got the infatuation with Dobbs.
I certainly don't get it based on these first 2 days.
I think as a mentor to Drake to show him, how it worked, like that's great. But ultimately, I look at it and probably influenced a lot by what we heard from Bill Belichick over the years. Is like that's one position that he said this: if you don't have it accounted for at all layers, first, second, third, you put the whole team at risk because it's such an important position. Quarterback always has the ball in his hands.
Which is weird because he went into 2020 with no plan at the position.
But in theory, you get my.
Well, I'm sorry, am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong. But
That's a year will always be very confusing for all of us. How did that happen? But no, I agree with that. I agree with what he said. He should have practiced what he preached on that topic. Maybe should have let Brady have a little more leeway and kept him here. That would have been nice too.
Would have been great. Sad.
But I think it's a valid point, and I got a Joe Milton point I got to make today.
Sure.
That I thought of.
What is it?
And it's this. Joe Milton going to Dallas, and we've already started here. Joe Milton looks great in Dallas.
Are they saying that, Beetle?
They are.
Really?
Yeah, he's throwing it through a wall down there.
He's having a good camp, I guess, through a couple of days.
He's got a strong arm, Mike.
And I would just say that Joe Milton doesn't need to be really good or overtake Dak Prescott or have great starts for that trade to look bad. All it's going to take is Drake May getting injured, and whoever it is, whether it's Pasternaut or anybody else, coming in and being terrible to prove it was a bad deal. It doesn't take Joe Milton being great to prove it bad. It'll just be the Patriots didn't get better at backup quarterback. That's all it's going to take for that to look silly and to have an easy second guess.
Yeah. Well, let's hope it doesn't happen. Just
I'm
for
hoping
every.
it
See, the
doesn't
sad part is, like, Brissett, I think, felt offended the way everything was handled. He thought he had a legitimate shot. He was kind of pissed once he got pulled. I think from day one, if he was your backup, like that would have been the perfect backup room.
Oh, if you last year signed Brissett and said, "Hey, you're the backup.
You're the backup.
I don't know that he,
Drake, Jacoby, help him.
I don't know if he would have signed here.
I
He would have waited.
I know, but I'm just saying, in a perfect world, as we look at backups, this is what happens. You're left to pick with what's left. So,
And
Yeah.
that is one where if they wanted to add someone, I don't know who's available, but that's still something they can address as time. It's not like it's Milton. They can't get him back, but they could add someone if they want to. And I was a little surprised that they didn't draft a quarterback to develop just based on the coaching here, and maybe this Ben Wooldridge, who's their third guy, who actually had a couple throws today that caught my eye. Maybe he could develop like a Matt Castle, but that's one, Beetle, that gives me a little pause.
all right, Reiss.
Mike, it's great to have football back,
Stuff.
isn't
I
it?
love having football back.
Awesome.
Two great days, right? Wind a little windy, but that's nice. And I think good energy down here. More than 5,000 fans the first day. Maybe a little lighter.
Lighter today.
Lighter
Yeah,
today.
A
definitely
little lighter today,
Yep.
but
Yeah.
good energy.
Big ones this weekend.
Tell me.
The puppies.
Yeah. I gotta find out about.
I
the
texted Mike.
41st puppy.
I texted Mike about the 41st.
I gotta find out about it.
Number
That was-
41.
I know. I gotta find out if someone got it.
How ugly is
What
that
was
dog?
wrong with the 41st?
3 legs.
But let me find out.
This
and
is
get
the
back to you.
hard-hitting reporting
Let me find
we
out and
need
get
from you,
back.
Mike.
Definitely.
Mike was the one to have the update that 40 of the 41 puppies were adopted.
Definitely.
And immediately, you know where my mind goes. Well, what the hell was wrong with the last one?
Yep.
What was wrong with that dog?
Right.
And let's find it a home. You know?
Yeah.
Definitely.
Somebody take the dog home, please.
It's getting windy.
All right, Mike. Thanks for being here.